Hi, beautiful souls. I need to share this message that's coming through so strongly right now. My guides are literally pushing me to get this out to you. Divine Feminine. Because there's something really important happening in your energy that you need to understand. I'm being shown this image of you sitting alone, maybe in your room or your sacred space. And there's this beautiful purple and gold light all around you. It's like you've been doing this deep inner work, really focusing on yourself, your spiritual growth, your healing. And while you might think no one has noticed this transformation, Spirit is showing me very clearly that someone has definitely been watching. What's fascinating is that I'm sensing this huge shift in your energy over the past few months. You've been carrying yourself differently, making decisions from a place of inner wisdom rather than fear or external validation. Maybe you've started meditation, or you're doing more spiritual practices, or you're just feeling more connected to your intuition. I'm getting such strong confirmation that this change in you is really profound. It's like you've stepped into this whole new version of yourself. And while this has been happening, there's been someone in your life, I'm sensing masculine energy, who's been witnessing all of this from a distance. They're seeing you transform, seeing you step into your power, and it's completely shifting how they view you. It's actually making them question everything they thought they knew about you and about themselves. The energy I'm picking up right now is so powerful because this isn't just about a surface level change. Your guides are showing me that this is a deep spiritual awakening, and it's having ripple effects you might not even be aware of yet. I'm getting such strong divine confirmation about the timing of this message because something really significant is unfolding. What's really interesting is that I'm being shown how your silence has actually been speaking volumes. You've been focused on your own journey, your own growth, and that quiet confidence, that inner knowing you've developed. It's actually been louder than any words could ever be. I'm seeing this image of a lotus flower blooming, and Spirit is really emphasizing how your own blossoming has been noticed on both the physical and spiritual planes. The divine timing of this message is so crucial because I'm sensing there's about to be a major shift in how this situation unfolds. My guides are actually showing me right now that something truly profound is happening with your spiritual gifts right now. The Hierophant has just appeared so strongly in your reading, and the energy around this card is literally making my hands tingle. What's really interesting about this is that it's showing up in perfect divine timing because you're stepping into this role of being both a student and a teacher on your spiritual path. I keep seeing this image of you sitting with others, maybe not in a formal teaching way, but people are naturally drawn to ask for your advice lately. You might not even realize you're doing it, but you're sharing these little pieces of wisdom that are really impacting people. It's like you've become this lighthouse of sorts, and others can feel your energy shift, even if they can't quite put their finger on what's different about you. The High Priestess energy from your previous journey is still so present here. It's like you went through this deep period of learning to trust your intuition, really diving into your inner knowing. But now with the Hierophant showing up, it's like you're being called to share that wisdom in a way that helps others. You don't have to stand on a mountaintop and preach. It's more about how you're naturally guiding people just by being you. I'm feeling really drawn to point out that the Empress energy is still so strong in your field. This divine feminine power you've been cultivating isn't just about personal growth anymore. It's becoming this magnetic force that's drawing people to your light. People who might have dismissed your spiritual side before are starting to see there's something much deeper to you than they realized. The Six of Swords is really interesting here because it's showing me that all those challenges you went through, all those times you felt like you were just trying to keep your head above water, they weren't just lessons for you. You're now able to help others navigate their own rough waters because you've been there yourself. Your guides are showing me that your past experiences have given you this incredible gift of empathy mixed with wisdom. I'm getting such a strong message about boundaries here too, because as more people start recognizing your wisdom and coming to you for guidance, it's important to remember that you don't have to be everyone's teacher. You're being shown that it's okay to be selective about who you share your energy with. Your guides are really emphasizing that your main focus should still be on your own growth and learning. There's something really beautiful happening where your quiet confidence is actually teaching more than any words could. People are noticing how you handle challenges differently now, how you seem more grounded, more connected to something bigger than yourself. And that masculine energy we talked about earlier, they're particularly affected by this transformation. They're seeing a depth in you that they completely missed before, and it's making them question their own spiritual journey. And now with all of this spiritual growth, we have the Queen of Pentacles coming forward so powerfully. What's really fascinating about this energy is how it's showing me that your spiritual awakening isn't just staying in the ethereal realm. It's actually manifesting in your physical world too. I'm seeing signs of real, tangible abundance starting to flow into your life. You know, it's interesting because the Queen of Pentacles brings this beautiful message about how your inner work is creating outer results. I'm sensing that some of you have recently noticed new opportunities coming your way, especially around money or career. Maybe you've been offered a new position, or perhaps people are suddenly wanting to pay you for your advice or skills. The guides are showing me that this isn't just random luck. It's directly connected to all the inner work you've been doing. There's something really powerful happening where your practical side and your spiritual side are coming together. It's like you're becoming this perfect blend of earthly wisdom and spiritual knowledge. I'm getting this clear message that people are starting to come to you for advice about really practical things, maybe about money, career choices, or life decisions. They can sense that you have this grounded wisdom now, that you're not just floating in spiritual concepts, but you really understand how to bring that wisdom down to earth. I'm feeling such a strong validation here about recent financial improvements in your life. If you've been seeing numbers like 888 or 555 lately, the guides are saying these are direct signs about abundance coming your way. But what's really beautiful is that you're handling this success differently than you might have in the past. There's this new sense of confidence in how you manage your resources, whether that's money, time, or energy. The guides are really emphasizing how others are noticing this change in you, especially those who might have doubted your path before. They're seeing how your spiritual journey isn't just about meditation and crystals. It's about creating real positive changes in your life. They're watching you step into leadership roles naturally, not because you're trying to prove anything, but because your energy just naturally draws people to trust your guidance now. I'm getting this really clear message about boundaries too. As your success becomes more visible, some people from your past might try to come back around. The guides want you to know it's okay to be selective about who you share your energy with. Your results are speaking for themselves. You don't need to explain or justify your journey to anyone who didn't support you during the harder times. There's something really significant happening with the way you're balancing material success with spiritual wisdom. The guides are showing me that this combination is actually part of your soul's purpose, teaching others that spirituality and practical success can go hand in hand. You're becoming living proof that following your intuition doesn't mean giving up worldly success. In fact, it's actually the key to achieving it in a way that feels authentic and aligned. And what's really beautiful about this journey you're on is how it's all coming together now with temperance showing up in your energy. You know, just as we were talking about balancing that material and spiritual side, temperance comes through to really confirm this divine alchemy that's happening within you. I'm feeling so strongly that you've reached this amazing point where you're naturally finding balance in situations that used to throw you off center. Earlier, we saw the High Priestess and the Empress energies really highlighting your spiritual awakening. And now Temperance is showing how you're mastering this beautiful dance between different aspects of your life. I'm getting this really clear vision of you standing between two worlds, the spiritual and the physical. And instead of feeling torn between them like you might have in the past, you're becoming this natural bridge. The guides are showing me specific situations where you've recently surprised yourself with how calmly you handled things that would have really stressed you out before. Maybe you've noticed that when drama or conflicts come up around you, you're not getting pulled into them like you used to. Instead, people are actually coming to you to help solve their problems because they can feel this peaceful, balanced energy you're carrying now. I'm getting such strong validation about dreams you've been having lately. If you've been seeing lots of water in your dreams, or maybe themes of transformation like butterflies or phoenixes, these are direct signs from your guides about this alchemical process you're going through. And those number sequences you've been seeing, especially 555 or 1111, they're confirming that you're right in the middle of this massive transformation. What's really interesting is how this is affecting your relationships, especially past connections. I'm sensing that some people from your past have been watching your evolution from afar, and they're honestly a bit shocked. They're seeing how you handle situations with this new grace and wisdom, and it's making them question everything they thought they knew about you. There's this energy of someone specific who's really been paying attention to your growth, but they're keeping their distance because they can feel how much you've changed. The guides want you to know that this balanced approach you're developing isn't just for you. It's actually part of your soul mission to show others how to navigate both spiritual growth and everyday life. You're becoming this living example of how someone can be both deeply spiritual and completely grounded at the same time. I'm seeing more leadership opportunities coming your way, but not in a forceful or dramatic way. It's more like people will naturally start looking to you for guidance because they can sense this wisdom you carry. There's something really important coming through about maintaining this balance as things start shifting even more in your life. When past connections start resurfacing and the guides are showing me they will, you'll need to use this new balanced energy to handle them wisely. It's like you're being prepared right now for some important conversations or situations that are coming up where you'll need both your spiritual wisdom and your practical understanding. And what's really fascinating is how all of these changes you've been going through are creating these ripple effects that you might not even be aware of yet. The magician has just appeared in your energy, and wow, the power coming through this card is incredible. It's like all the internal work you've been doing with that high priestess energy we talked about earlier is now starting to show up in really tangible ways. I'm getting this really clear message about someone who's been watching your journey from a distance. They're seeing how you've stepped into this amazing personal power, and honestly, it's kind of throwing them off balance. You know how sometimes you can feel someone's eyes on you? That's exactly what's happening here. But it's more than just watching. They're feeling the effects of your transformation deep in their soul. I keep hearing this message about how you're starting to naturally take charge of situations without even trying. Like maybe you've noticed recently that people are coming to you for advice more often, or you're finding yourself being the voice of reason in group situations. That's your magician energy working with that Queen of Pentacles energy we saw earlier. You're bringing together both practical wisdom and spiritual insight in this really powerful way. There's something really specific coming through about a skill or talent that you might have always had, but maybe didn't think was that special. The guides are showing me that this thing you do naturally is actually pretty extraordinary to others, even if it feels ordinary to you. I'm seeing people around you starting to recognize this gift in a whole new way. I'm feeling such strong confirmation about dreams you've been having lately. If you've been dreaming about people from your past or maybe places you used to spend time in, pay attention to those dreams. They're not just random. They're showing you how far you've come on your journey. What's really interesting is how this person who's been observing your growth is processing everything. The guides are showing me that they're going through this intense internal struggle because they're seeing you in this completely new light. It's like they had this fixed image of who you were, and now that image is being completely shattered. Your evolution is actually triggering their own awakening in a way. You might be noticing more synchronicities lately, like seeing certain numbers repeatedly or having random people mention things that are deeply meaningful to you. These aren't coincidences. They're confirmations that you're exactly where you need to be on your path. The guides want you to know that all this attention and recognition you're starting to receive isn't random. It's a direct result of the inner work you've been doing. I'm getting such a clear message about leadership here, not the loud, in-your-face kind of leadership, but this natural, magnetic kind that draws people to you. People are starting to feel your energy differently. It's like they can sense that you're operating on a higher frequency now. Even if you're not saying anything different, they're hearing you differently. This is that divine feminine power we talked about earlier really coming into its full expression. The guides are showing me that there are going to be some situations coming up where you'll need to stay really grounded in this new energy you've cultivated. I'm seeing potentially challenging conversations or encounters where someone might try to pull you back into old patterns or dynamics, but you're not the same person you were before. You've done too much work, grown too much to slip back into those old ways of being. When I tell you that you can't go back to those old patterns, I really need you to hear this because the star just appeared in your reading, and this is such powerful confirmation of everything we've been discussing. This card is literally glowing with this incredible healing energy. It's like the universe is saying, yes, keep going exactly as you are. You know, it's so interesting because while you've been focused on your own healing journey, on really discovering who you are at your core, this masculine energy we talked about earlier, they've been watching this entire process unfold. And what I'm getting so strongly is that your growth is actually triggering something really deep within them. The high priestess energy we saw earlier is showing me that you've been developing this really profound intuitive wisdom, and they can feel it. It's like they can sense that you're operating on this whole new frequency. I'm getting such a clear message about how your energy has shifted into this beautiful Empress vibration. You might notice that people have been telling you lately that you're glowing or that there's something different about you. Maybe they can't quite put their finger on what's changed, but they can feel it. That's because you're embodying this divine feminine power in such a natural, authentic way. It's not forced. It's just who you've become through doing all this inner work. The star is showing me that you might be feeling a bit stuck right now in certain areas of your life. Like there's this sense of waiting or being in a holding pattern. But what's really fascinating is that this period of feeling stuck is actually divine timing at work. It's like the universe is saying, wait, we're preparing something bigger than you can imagine. I'm seeing this really clear image of a garden that's been planted but hasn't sprouted yet. All this amazing growth is happening beneath the surface. You might be noticing that you're becoming this kind of natural mediator in situations without even trying, like people are just naturally turning to you to help resolve conflicts or to get your perspective on things. That's because your energy has shifted into this really beautiful healing frequency. The star card is all about hope and divine guidance, and it's showing me that you're actually becoming this beacon of light for others, even if you don't fully realize it yet. I keep hearing this message about water. Either you're having dreams about water or you're feeling really drawn to water lately. This is such a powerful symbol of your emotional healing and spiritual growth. And these number sequences you might be seeing, especially 700 or Gili. They're like little winks from the universe confirming that you're exactly where you need to be. The really beautiful thing about all of this is that your growth isn't just for show. It's this deep, authentic transformation that's creating this natural magnetic pull. This person who's been watching your journey, they're starting to question everything they thought they knew about you. It's like they're seeing you for the first time, but really seeing you, seeing your depth, your wisdom, your power. And it's kind of throwing them off balance because they can't ignore this pull they're feeling toward your energy, and what's really powerful is how this new Queen of Wands energy is starting to emerge in your life. I need to tell you something important about this. When this card appears right after the star and that high priestess energy we were just discussing, it's showing me that your inner fire is really starting to shine through in ways that are impossible for others to ignore anymore. You know how lately you might be finding yourself speaking up in situations where you used to stay quiet, or maybe you're noticing that when you walk into a room, people just naturally turn to look at you. That's this Queen of Wands energy we're seeing here. But here's what's really interesting. It's not because you're trying to get attention. It's actually quite the opposite. This is about a quiet, natural confidence that's just flowing from all the inner work you've been doing. I'm getting such a strong message about leadership right now, but it's not the loud, flashy kind of leadership that needs to announce itself. What I'm seeing is more like, imagine a candle in a dark room. It doesn't need to make any noise or movement to light up the whole space. That's the kind of energy you're stepping into. People are starting to come to you for advice, aren't they? Maybe even people you wouldn't expect. I'm seeing situations where even those who used to doubt you are now seeking your opinion. This masculine energy we've been talking about, they're really feeling this shift in you. The Queen of Wands showing up here is telling me they're seeing you in this completely new light. It's like they knew you as one person, and now they're watching you transform into this incredibly magnetic being. And what's really throwing them off balance is that you're not even trying to be magnetic. It's just happening naturally because you're finally allowing your true self to shine through. I keep hearing this message about natural authority. You might be finding yourself in situations where people are automatically looking to you to take the lead, even if you don't have an official leadership role. Maybe you've recently had to step up and handle a situation that would have overwhelmed you before, but now you're handling it with this surprising ease. That's because this isn't about putting on a show of confidence. It's about finally letting your authentic power shine through. The connection between the High Priestess and Queen of Wands energies is really significant here. It's showing me that your spiritual insights, all that inner wisdom you've been developing, it's starting to express itself in really practical, visible ways. You might notice that you just know things before they happen now, or you can read situations more clearly than ever before. Trust this. This is your intuition growing stronger, and it's becoming one of your greatest assets. I'm being shown this image of a butterfly emerging from its cocoon, but with this interesting twist. The butterfly isn't rushing to fly away. It's taking its time, letting its wings dry naturally, knowing exactly when the right moment is to take flight. That's exactly what you're doing right now. You're not forcing anything. You're not trying to prove anything to anyone. You're just naturally becoming who you were always meant to be. And speaking of becoming who you were meant to be, I just got chills because the World card just appeared, and this is such powerful confirmation of everything we've been discussing. This is showing me that you're reaching this amazing point of completion in your spiritual journey. But not an ending, more like graduating to a whole new level of understanding. You know how sometimes you can feel in your body that something big is shifting? I'm getting such strong physical sensations around this card. Some of you might be experiencing these really vivid dreams lately, especially ones with circles or spiral patterns. That's your spirit guide showing you that this massive cycle of transformation is coming full circle. What's really interesting is how the world is connecting with that high priestess energy we saw earlier. It's like all those quiet moments of insight, all those times you just knew something deep in your gut. They're all coming together now. I keep hearing this message about hidden becoming visible. Remember how we talked about that masculine energy watching your transformation? Well, with the world showing up here, they're not just seeing surface changes anymore. They're witnessing your complete spiritual emergence. I'm getting such strong validation around numbers right now. Have you been seeing 999 or 1010 everywhere? These are huge signs of completion and new beginnings. Some of you might even be waking up at these exact times or seeing these numbers on license plates or receipts. Your guides are really trying to get your attention about this completion energy. The way the world is positioned right after that Queen of Wands we discussed, this is showing me that your confidence isn't just about personal power anymore. You're stepping into this role of wisdom keeper, teacher, guide. But here's what's beautiful about it. You're not trying to be any of these things. People are just naturally starting to see you this way. I'm seeing situations where people are coming to you for advice and the words just flow from you without even thinking about it. Something really profound is happening with your past wounds too. You know those experiences that used to really hurt to think about? The world is showing me that they've transformed into your greatest teaching tools. It's like every challenge you've faced has become this beautiful piece of wisdom that you can now share with others. But what's really powerful is that you're not sharing from a place of pain anymore. You're sharing from this place of deep understanding and peace. I'm seeing this really clear image of a spiral staircase, but instead of going up or down, it's expanding outward. That's what's happening with your influence right now. Every step you take in your own healing journey is creating this ripple effect that's touching people in ways you might not even realize. Some of you might be finding that people are telling you you've changed, but they can't quite put their finger on how. That's because this transformation is happening at such a deep soul level. And what's really powerful about this expansion of your influence is that it's creating these permanent, lasting changes, not just in you, but in everything around you. The 10 of Pentacles just appeared, and I'm getting such strong chills because this is showing me that all of this inner work you've been doing isn't just some temporary phase. You're literally building a new foundation for generations to come. I keep seeing this image of a beautiful garden that's been carefully tended over many years. At first, it might have seemed like nothing was happening beneath the surface, but now everything is blooming at once. That's what's happening with your energy right now. All those private moments of working on yourself, all those times you chose healing over hiding, they've created this amazing ripple effect that can't be undone. The 10 of Pentacles is connecting so powerfully with that High Priestess energy we saw earlier. It's like your inner wisdom and your outer world are finally matching up. Some of you might be noticing that you're being called into leadership positions without even trying. Maybe you're finding yourself naturally mediating conflicts at work, or family members are suddenly coming to you for advice. That's because people can feel the solid foundation you've built within yourself. I'm getting such a clear message about someone specific watching your success from a distance. They might have underestimated you in the past, thought you were just going through a phase, but now they're seeing how real and lasting these changes are. The 10 of Pentacles is showing me that this person is actually feeling pretty shaken up about how they misjudged you. They're realizing you weren't just working on yourself, you were completely transforming into your true form. For some of you, I'm seeing the numbers 888 appearing a lot lately. This is a huge confirmation about abundance and long-term success. Your guides are showing me that these numbers might be showing up on clocks, receipts, or even in addresses. It's like they're trying to tell you, keep going. Everything you're building is meant to last. You know what's really interesting? Some of you might be having dreams about houses or buildings lately. Maybe you're exploring new rooms you didn't know existed, or you're seeing foundations being laid. These aren't just random dreams. They're symbolic of the lasting legacy you're creating through your spiritual growth. I'm feeling such a strong connection between all these cards we've pulled. The High Priestess, the Empress, the Queen of Wands, and now this 10 of Pentacles. It's like they're telling a story of how your quiet inner work is creating this powerful external transformation. People who used to doubt your path are now watching in amazement as everything falls into place for you. But here's what's really beautiful. You're not doing any of this to prove anyone wrong. You're simply becoming more authentically yourself. And that authenticity is naturally creating this stable, abundant foundation. Some of you might even be feeling guided to start teaching or mentoring others, sharing the wisdom you've gained through your journey. And what's really powerful about this path you're on is that right as we're talking about teaching others, the King of Pentacles shows up in our reading. This is no accident. It's showing me that while you've been focused on your inner growth, you've actually been building something so much bigger than you realized. This King energy is matching perfectly with that Empress energy we saw earlier. It's like your divine feminine power is now being recognized in the material world. I'm getting such a clear message about recognition coming your way, but not in the way you might expect. You see, while you've been quietly working on yourself, certain people, and I'm specifically being shown someone who maybe didn't value your growth journey before, they've been watching. They're seeing how you handle situations differently now. Where you might have once gotten caught up in drama, you're now this calm, grounding presence that others naturally turn to. It's interesting because just this morning, my guides were showing me this image of a tree that grows so tall and strong that it can't help but cast a shadow. That's your energy right now. You're not trying to prove anything to anyone, but your growth is impossible to ignore. Some of you might have noticed that people at work or in your family are suddenly coming to you for advice more often. Maybe you found yourself naturally taking the lead in situations where you would have stayed quiet before. The King of Pentacles showing up right after that 10 of Pentacles we just saw. This is huge confirmation about material success following spiritual growth. But here's what's really fascinating. I'm seeing that someone specific in your life, possibly a masculine energy who once held authority over you in some way, is having to completely reevaluate how they see you. They're realizing that while they were stuck in their old ways of thinking, you've evolved into someone who carries their own authority. You know what's really interesting? Some of you might have been having dreams about buildings lately or keep seeing images of foundations and structures. I'm hearing so clearly that this isn't just about material success. It's about how your spiritual wisdom is creating lasting, tangible change in your physical world. The Queen of Pentacles that showed up earlier was just a glimpse of this energy, but now with this King of Pentacles, it's like you're stepping fully into your power. I keep hearing this message. They thought you were just working on yourself, but you were actually building an empire. this isn't necessarily about money or traditional success, though that might be part of it for some of you. It's about creating something lasting, something that carries real weight in the world. Your quiet transformation hasn't just changed you, it's changing how the entire material world responds to you. Some of you might be feeling a bit uncertain about stepping into this leadership role that's naturally forming around you. Maybe you're wondering if you're ready to be seen as this authority figure. But what I'm being shown so clearly is that you've already been living this energy. Now, the outside world is just catching up to what was already true internally. And what's really powerful about this authority you're stepping into is that the Six of Wands just appeared in our spread, right as we were talking about you becoming this natural leader. This feels like such clear confirmation of what we've been seeing. You know, sometimes when I pull cards, they tell a story that slowly unfolds, but this is hitting me like a lightning bolt of truth. I need to share something that just came through so strongly. While you've been doing this deep inner work, focusing on your spiritual growth and healing, there's been someone watching your transformation from a distance. The High Priestess energy we saw earlier, that's been your protection, your shield while you've been in this cocoon phase. But now with this Six of Wands showing up, it's like the universe is saying, you can't hide this light anymore, even if you wanted to. Some of you might have been noticing more people coming to you for advice lately. Maybe you're finding yourself naturally mediating conflicts at work or in your family without even trying. These aren't coincidences. I'm being shown this image of you as this lighthouse, and people are just naturally drawn to your energy now. The Queen of Wands energy we saw earlier is really amplifying this. It's like you found this perfect balance between your inner wisdom and your outer confidence. I keep seeing the number sequence 777 around this message, and some of you might have been seeing this too. It's a powerful sign of spiritual advancement, and it's showing up right as we pull these cards about recognition and victory. This isn't just about personal victory, though. I'm feeling so strongly that this is about being recognized for who you truly are, especially by someone who might have doubted you before. There's something really interesting happening with the timing here. While you've been focused on your healing, on building your connection with your spiritual side, someone, and I'm getting this is someone specific for many of you, they've been going through their own awakening about you. The High Priestess paired with this Six of Wands is showing me that your quiet strength, the way you've been handling yourself with such grace, it's actually been teaching them without you even trying. I'm seeing some of you might be feeling a bit uncertain about this attention coming your way. Maybe you're worried about losing this peaceful space you've created for yourself. But what's so beautiful about where you are now is that your foundation is unshakable. This isn't like before. You're not seeking validation anymore. Instead, you're being divinely positioned to help others while maintaining your own peace. You might start noticing more synchronicities around this, especially people from your past suddenly reaching out. Some of you are already experiencing this. They might say things like, "I've been thinking about you," or "You seem different." Trust that these aren't random encounters. The Six of Wands is showing me that you're entering a phase where your growth isn't just internal anymore. It's becoming visible to everyone around you, especially those who once questioned your path. And now I'm being guided to pull another card for deeper clarity around this energy shift we're seeing. The King of Cups has just emerged, and wow, the timing of this couldn't be more significant. This masculine energy that's been watching your transformation, they're going through their own emotional awakening right now. The King of Cups represents someone who's finally learned to master their emotions, to really understand the depth of their feelings. And I'm being shown that your growth has been a catalyst for this list. You know how sometimes you can feel when someone's thinking about you, that sensation of being watched or thought about from afar. There's a reason for that right now. Your energy has become so magnetic, so powerfully aligned with your truth that it's actually causing others to question everything they thought they knew about you. I'm particularly drawn to how this King of Cups is interacting with the Empress energy we saw earlier. It's like watching someone finally recognize the true value of a precious gem they once mistook for ordinary stone. I'm getting such a strong message about boundaries right now. Some of you might be feeling a pull to reach out or respond to this person, but Spirit is saying to hold steady in your power. You've created this beautiful sacred space for yourself, like a garden you've carefully tended. And it's important to remember that not everyone has earned the right to walk in it just because they can now see how beautiful it is. I'm seeing some of you dealing with really interesting situations at work or in your social circles. Maybe you've noticed people who used to overlook you are suddenly paying attention to your opinions, or you're being invited into conversations you were previously left out of. This isn't just coincidence. It's a direct reflection of how your inner work is shifting your outer reality. There's something really specific coming through about water. Either you've been dreaming about water lately, or you keep seeing images of oceans or rivers. This is Spirit confirming that you're in a deep emotional transformation period. The King of Cups showing up now is validating this. It's like the universe is showing us that while you've been doing your inner work, ripples have been spreading out in ways you couldn't see. Some of you might be feeling a bit overwhelmed by all this attention or recognition coming your way. I want you to know that this is completely natural. You've been in this cocoon phase with the High Priestess energy, and now you're emerging into this Six of Wands victory moment. But here's what's beautiful. You're not the same person who used to seek validation from others. This King of Cups energy is showing me that you've developed this incredible emotional wisdom. You can receive all this recognition while staying completely grounded in who you are. I keep hearing this message. They see you now, but you saw yourself first. This feels so important for those of you who might be dealing with someone from your past, suddenly trying to step back into your life. Your growth wasn't about them. It was about you coming home to yourself. And now that you're radiating this empowered Empress energy, combined with the spiritual wisdom of the High Priestess, you're naturally commanding the respect you always deserved. And that's exactly what the spirits want to validate. As our next card comes forward, the Ace of Pentacles is showing up now, and I can't help but notice how it's perfectly building on this story of your transformation. This is such a powerful confirmation that all your spiritual work isn't just creating inner changes. It's manifesting real, tangible results in your physical world. I'm getting such a clear message about foundations right now. Some of you have been having these really vivid dreams about buildings or construction. Maybe you keep seeing houses being built, or you're dreaming about renovating rooms. Spirit is showing me that this isn't random. This Ace of Pentacles is telling us that you're literally building a new foundation for your life, brick by brick, through all this inner work you've been doing. You know what's really interesting? I keep seeing this image of a garden starting to bloom. It's like all these seeds you've been planting, maybe without even realizing it, are finally starting to push through the soil. Some of you might have noticed you're suddenly being asked for advice more often, especially about spiritual matters. Or maybe you found yourself naturally mediating conflicts at work or with friends without even trying. That's this Ace of Pentacles energy working through you. Your inner wisdom is creating real value in the world. I'm hearing the numbers 888 and 999 really strongly right now. If you've been seeing these numbers, especially on clocks or license plates, that's a huge confirmation. The angels are showing me that you're completing a major cycle of growth. But more importantly, you're stepping into this amazing period where your spiritual power is creating material abundance. There's something really specific coming through about professional settings. Some of you might have noticed a shift in how people at work treat you. Maybe your boss is suddenly asking for your input more, or colleagues who used to dismiss you are now paying attention. I'm seeing someone specifically getting recognition for a project they worked on quietly, behind the scenes. This is that high priestess energy we saw earlier, combined with this new Ace of Pentacles. Your silent wisdom is becoming impossible to ignore. But here's what's really beautiful about this Ace of Pentacles showing up now. It's not just about material success. I'm seeing this really powerful image of a tree with deep roots, and I'm hearing what grows in shadow becomes strength in light. This is about how all that internal spiritual work you've been doing is now creating this unshakable foundation for everything else in your life. Your relationships, your career, your sense of self-worth, they're all being rebuilt on this new, stronger foundation. I keep hearing this message. Let them witness your worth without explaining it. This feels so important for those of you who might be feeling pressure to justify your growth or explain your journey to others. The Ace of Pentacles is showing me that your transformation is speaking for itself. You don't need to convince anyone of your value anymore. It's becoming clear as day to everyone around you. And that brings us to our final message today. And wow, the Hierophant appearing in this position is just so powerful. This really validates everything we've been seeing about your journey. I'm getting such clear divine downloads right now about how this isn't just about personal transformation anymore. You're stepping into this beautiful role as a natural teacher and guide for others. You know what's really interesting? Some of you have probably noticed people randomly coming to you for advice lately, maybe even strangers opening up to you about their problems. That's this Hierophant energy working through you, your quiet wisdom, all that inner work you've been doing. It's Tivoriflikai like this gentle light that others are naturally drawn to. I keep hearing this message so clearly. What was once your wound has become your wisdom. This feels so important for those of you who've been through really challenging situations, especially in relationships or with this masculine energy we've been talking about. All those experiences weren't just lessons for you. They've prepared you to help others navigate similar paths. The spirits are showing me this image of stairs, but they're lighting up one step at a time. It's like they're saying you've been climbing these stairs in the dark, trusting each step, and now you've reached this landing where you can look back and see how far you've come. Others are noticing too, especially those who took you for granted before. They're seeing you in this whole new light. But what's beautiful is that you're no longer seeking their validation. I'm feeling such strong guidance about boundaries right now. As more people are drawn to your energy and wisdom, remember that you get to choose how and when to share your light. You don't need to be available to everyone all the time. Trust your intuition about who's really ready to receive your wisdom. For those of you feeling a pull to teach, write, or share your journey in some way, this Hierophant is a huge confirmation, but I'm hearing very clearly that it needs to happen in divine timing. Some of you might be feeling pressure to rush this process, but Spirit wants you to know that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. You know, as I sit with your energy and these cards, I'm feeling such a deep connection to your journey. There's so much more wanting to come through about your specific path and the unique ways your spiritual gifts are meant to be shared. If you'd like to stay connected to these messages and this energy, please consider subscribing to our channel. It really does help me pick up on your specific energy more clearly. And for those feeling called to explore your path more deeply, I do offer private readings through Patreon, where we can look more specifically at your unique spiritual journey and the ways your gifts are meant to be shared with the world. Remember, you're not just growing for yourself, you're lighting the way for others too. Thank you for sharing this sacred space with me today. Until we connect again, keep shining your light. The world needs your wisdom now more than ever.